and welcome to the Spoiler Corner! This is the corner where we spoil things. You have been warned, there are no filters here. So, going into the spoilers of this book, I 100% knew that Oliver was dead. From the beginning, when she first finds him and he's talking and he doesn't know, and then they talk about a boy who's missing, I'm like, this boy gonna be dead. He's dead. He's a ghost. He's like a ghost person thing. And then he's like sneaking into all these places and they can't see him. I'm like, y'all, he's dead. You know, and it's because they've done it before. Like, you know, you've watched like The Sixth Sense or something, and this is spoilers for The Sixth Sense now, but Bruce Willis's character at the end of that movie is dead. He was dead the whole time, you know? And so it's just like, because it's been done so many times before, it's so clear when you read this that he is dead. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. So I was not shocked when it was revealed that the boy who died and the boy who went missing were not who she originally thought they were. I was like, well, yeah, Oliver is clearly the dead one, and Max is clearly the alive one who killed him. It really did take away from the twist for me, just because it's like, you could tell that that's what they were going, or you could tell that that's what was going to happen. I mean, it's still a good moment. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not saying it takes away from the story at all. It takes away the punch. It takes away the punch of the twist. It's still good following that, but it's just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You know, like, he was dead. Of course he was dead. You made out with a ghost, which, how is that possible? Another thing about this book, though, is that time travel. I love time travel. I love Doctor Who, and I love Back to the Future. But there are time travel rules that you follow, and time travel rule number 1 is don't mess with the past. You do not touch anything, you do not poke anything, you do not even breathe on anything, because it will alter your future. And so I felt like the time travel in this at the end was kind of a bit of a cop-out, and it just sort of felt like, you know, you're a witch. Like, there's like so many other ways that you could have, you know, done this, or like you could have found out what your power was. It didn't have to be time travel. And I think it's just because, again, I've seen so many movies where it's like something tragic happens in a character's life and then they time travel and then suddenly everything is fixed and hunky-dory. Like, I'm more open to the idea of, you know, there being actual magic involved, like, you know, using magic to like fix the situation as opposed to like time travel. I don't know. I just have always felt like time travel was kind of a cop-out with things like that. And I felt like it was kind of a cop-out with this too. Like, I understand that everything is on fire and everything is burned down and destroyed and it would be like a horrible ending. But I mean, it's still like, I don't know. It was a happy ending, but like I said, it kind of felt like a cop-out happy ending. I was hoping for something a little bit more. I mean, I needed a happy ending after The Wicked Deed, because holy lord, that ending, I cried at the end of that book. So I needed something happy. It's just I was a little bit disappointed in the happy ending that we got at the end of this. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Time travel is just something that I just have always seen as a cop-out when it comes to fixing tragic situations. So that's just me though. I'm sure for a lot of people it's a very happy ending, but for me it was just a little bit like, this is too easy. One of the other things too though is that kind of with that whole time travel thing is that you don't know what happens to the rest of the characters after that. Like, it sort of ends on Nora and Oliver being happy, but then you realize that she's gone back in time and she's changed everything, so that means this friendship that she created with the girl from her school never happened. You know, that means that all this other stuff also never happened, which is ideally what she wanted, but it's like, okay, but like, how does that mess things up? Like, are you going to be friends with her again? Are you going to like see these boys again? Like, you know, and so it just leaves like a lot of questions, and I think that that's maybe what the author was trying to do, was sort of leave it a little bit open-ended. It was just kind of sad for this lonely girl in the woods who finally like made a friend to go back in time to a point where that had never happened and make no effort for that to happen again. And it's not even like mentioned or anything, and so I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess you just don't have friends. I guess you just have this boy because you know, time travel. And it kind of makes me wonder too, like, what happens to the boys? Like, the whole reason they got in this situation in the first place is because, you know, Max and Jasper and Rhett and Lynn basically murdered Oliver. What the heck happens to them after the time travel thing? Like, do they just keep on living their lives as butts, or like, do they kind of straighten out? Does Lynn get a backbone? It's just like, you know, there's so many like other questions. I understand you want to wrap things up for your main characters, but I also kind of want to know what happens to the side characters too. Like, where are they? What did they do? I have no idea. There's also really no explanation as to why Max hates Oliver, like why he let him drown. Like, they kind of go over it a little bit, where he's like saying like, oh, I moved in and took Max's bunk and then he went off and he hated me. And I'm like, okay, but why? Like, is it just like an initial hatred of you? Like, he looked at you and was like, God, I'm gonna drown you someday. They never like give a real reason why Max hates Oliver enough to let him drown. Like, I just didn't get that. Also, I'm realizing that Shay Earnshaw really likes drowning people, because in the Wicked Deep, she drowns, oh gosh, she drowns a lot of people in the Wicked Deep. She drowns the three sisters, the one guy, and then like every other guy they kill after that, and then the main character. And in this, she also drowns the main character, both of them. I don't know what it is with water, but there's a lot of drowning in her books. There's not as much drowning in Winterwood as there is in the Wicked Deep, but there's a lot of drowning. Overall, again, I did really enjoy this book. I did have fun reading it, and it was something that I wanted to keep reading. I wanted to, you know, I couldn't put it down. I wanted to read it. It kept me interested enough in it to where I wanted to finish it. But I will say the better parts of the books are definitely things that happen within the forest. I just really loved the atmosphere of the whole book. I loved the creepiness of it, the unsettling feelings that you got from it. I just really enjoyed it. I mean, it really was a lot of fun. It was a good book. It's just obviously, like anything, it is not without its problems. And again, these are all things that I just noticed, like these are just things in my opinion. I would still highly recommend picking it up and giving it a good read. Like I said before, it is a good one to read around Halloween just because it is very creepy and it is a lot of fun. So I would still recommend it. Even though if you're here watching my spoiler corner, you now know what happened, so sorry, I did warn you. So go ahead and leave a comment down below, let me know what your thoughts are of Winterwood, and this is a spoiler safe place. You can say whatever you want in those comments. The spoiler free zone was in the last video, so here's the spoiler safe area. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click that like button, and ring that bell, and I will see y'all next time for another video. Bye!